Hello, everyone. I am Brandon Hauser, clinical hypnotherapist and psychic spiritual consultant. Some of you may know me as the Dream Teacher, and this title lends itself to the purpose of my work, which is to help others manifest their dreams into reality. I am very grateful to be here. I have switched platforms and moved from doing a regular radio show on Blog Talk Radio into coming over to YouTube Live. So this is my first show. Please bear with me. I am getting used to all these new settings, all these new features here, and all of my equipment that I have. So bear with me as I go through this learning curve here and bring you a totally different kind of show. So, I want to explain a little bit about what it is that I do, but first I want you to be able to go ahead and find me, where you can look up my work, look up what I do. You can go head on over to thedreamteacher.com, so www.thedreamteacher.com. That way you can connect with me here, you can book sessions, you can buy products that I have available. So being a clinical and transpersonal hypnotherapist. So I've gone for schooling to get my hypnotherapy degree. On top of that, I did the clinical studies as a means of being able to help in doctor settings where I work alongside other doctors and professionals, whether it's for medical or psychological things to focus on. So I took that class as well, and have a degree in that. And then the transpersonal, which is another word for basically spiritual. And it goes into and ties into a lot of deeper things like past life regressions and life between life regressions and things like that. Now, I already have a spiritual background, so this part of school was really exciting for me because it allowed me to really connect with the things that I personally connect with, which is spirituality. You know, I actually found a symbiotic relationship for myself between psychism and hypnosis. It wasn't until experimenting with hypnosis that I found psychism to be something that is not only real and genuine, but valuable. I had quite a few interesting experiences where I was shown, it was a very simple, easy setting of being in a party, and I had found a few somnambulous subjects, and somnambulous just means that they're able to go into the state of hypnosis easily and deeply. And when I found them, I asked permission, if we could experiment around with a few things, and I opened up within these people to give them this ability to be psychic. And when they went around the room and read people, it blew everyone away, and it was at that moment right there that I knew that there was something important to hypnosis and what I was doing as just something that was intriguing and fun for me, and something to this psychic experience, these psychic readings, this energy. And so that's what spawned really everything for me. So for me, there is a symbiotic relationship between psychism and what we all perceive to be external information, receiving intuitive notions or maybe clairaudient sounds or clairvoyant images, within your mind, and it being tied and connected to the subconscious mind. It was a big, I would say it was kind of an obsession. When I had graduated regular traditional public school here in the United States up till high school, after that I really wanted to just learn more about the mind. I had heard growing up that we only used a small percentage of our mind, and so for me that was the trigger of, okay, what is going on in this other part of the mind? What is happening? Where can I explore? What can I find? What can I figure out? So that was very intriguing for me, and that's kind of what spawned so many different things related to the mind of areas of interest for myself. So I have been doing this work now. I've been certified. I had a what did they call it? It was a foundations in hypnotherapy degree. I had that at 18 years old, and so I experimented around a lot with it, just fun, just play, hypnotizing at friends' places and colleges and parties and what have you. And that was a lot of fun for me. And then I really started to, about 11 years ago, I started to work professionally as a psychic advisor, because the things that were happening when I saw these people hypnotized were things that I have been doing my entire life. And being 18, I was, of course, a little bit naive in thinking that, you know, I saw the world differently than other people. I didn't think that I did. I was just a normal, everyday person. I wasn't born into any sort of crazy circumstances or an intense family or anything like that. Everything about my I guess, upbringing or birth, my inception into this world was relatively normal and average. So I didn't think that people thought differently than me. Of course, that's an 18-year-old's thought, right? And then once I realized that I was seeing things in people that other people do not, that's when I started to understand. And that's when I saw other psychics doing this work. And I'm like, I do this on a regular basis. This is exactly how I operate and connect with people. I can just see people's paths. I can just see what's going on. I can feel, almost any state of emotion that they're in at any given time. I can see what's coming up for people in their lives. I can just sense it. The way that it plays out for me is almost like a film. You can see the person at present moments, and then it's almost like it just reveals itself in a film strip, and I can just look at, whatever direction, wherever things are going. So it was very natural for me. And once I was able to identify what it was, then I was able to use it in a productive way to help other people with it. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it, that sense of exploration. Let's see here. Let me make sure that the live chat and everything is working well. Hopefully you all can see me clearly and hear me clearly. So I do want to get into some readings today for everyone, whoever is listening in. You can just type your questions in the chat and I'll be able to connect with them. I do want to go through something interesting though. It seems like a lot of people really enjoy these card readings, and I like using this Lenormand deck, and I'll show you what they look like here. These are, I got these as a gift from a friend. They always say that, these spiritual items like cards or crystals or things are always best given by people that and given as gifts and things. So my friend bought these for me. I think it was Christmas or a birthday, but they're just little symbols, and I really like the Lenormands because it gives you a nice symbol that encompasses so many different energies. I also, maybe there's an affinity towards it with me because I have some kind of French descendancy, and Lenormand is obviously French. So maybe there's some kind of past life connection there, or something going on, that why I feel an affinity for it. But I do want to kind of give general information on the energy that each zodiac sign is going to be going through in the next week. It feels like a nice little update. It feels like a good thing for people to be able to watch and engage with. But one of the biggest things, I'm really looking forward to engaging in this community and connecting with all of you. So if you are trying to get in contact with me or connect with me, of course you can come here in the live chat and we can talk. But I also want you to be able to contact me personally and privately if you want to. And you can do that on my website here. Just go to thedreamteacher.com and click on the Contact Me page. You'll be able to send me directly an email. So that really is the best way to get in touch with me, because I get that right to me, and I'll be able to respond right away. I do have other social media outlets. I do like to use Twitter every once in a while, Facebook or Instagram. I do use Facebook, Facebook like page there. I believe some of those links are connected here to my profile, so you can find me at those places. But the best way to get in contact with me is doing the Contact Me and going on that page on my website. So a little bit about my journey to YouTube Live. I've done Blog Talk Radio for a long time, and that's where I found a lot of people that I could network with, a lot of people that understood what I was going through in my life, and how I was even able to identify, these abilities and what I could do with that as my sort of supporting beginning stages of my work. And so I have all those shows. They're still archived. If you ever want to listen, you can listen to them. They are on iTunes and Google Podcasts if you ever wanted to listen. But I wanted to bring that show here. It felt like at this time I was ready to engage in this more personal interaction with people. I feel personally more defined in myself at this time in my life. And because of that definition, it allows me to sit clearly in my own space. And let me explain this a little bit. When I connect with a client, when I'm working with them psychically, especially psychically, when I connect with them, I essentially blend my entire self and being with that person. It just happens naturally. I do have it to a point where I can allow a sense of focus to take place, so I'm not kind of always constantly bombarded and blending with other people's energy. I did that in the past. And so because of that, it made me feel like I was kind of all over the place, not having a clear sense of definition, feeling like a piece of everybody. I still feel that sentiment with myself. I still feel like a piece of everyone. And I feel like a lot of people either see themselves in me and vice versa. I see myself in them. I feel like that's the entire point of relating to one another, having relationships or relatability with people. So that quality still remains, but what is more structured now is my own personal definition, and now that feels better, it's like I can come to you in a different platform, in a different format. And that's what I really am enjoying about this YouTube live experience, is being able to connect with you here, face to face. I believe, and maybe I will be able to learn this a little bit more as I continue to do these shows, that you can bring on other people as like a call onto the live stream. So hopefully I can play around with that and see if I can engage connection with other people. And I really want to allow this show to grow. This is the first show. These are the roots. These are the groundwork that I've been kind of really focused on over the past few weeks building this. But I expect it to grow. There's so many different ideas and things that I want to do with it. There's little games. There's little personal interactive things that we can do with everybody involved. There's other formats I want to do where I connect with people. And I don't want to give too much away just because it's really exciting and fun to do. But I connect with them on this almost channeled level, and there's really cool information and messages that kind of come through in that context of the show. So you'll see that more as time goes on. I want to be able to do this first show where, I talk to you a little bit about where I am, what I do, and why I'm even here. One of the biggest things that I feel I am here to do, like I said in the beginning, is to help people manifest dreams into reality. There's something about when I work with somebody, whether it is spiritual or on a hypnotherapy basis, where I am able to help that person identify exactly what is going on in the core of your being. What's underneath all these ideas and thoughts, what's underneath these emotions, what's underneath all these beliefs. I help you to get to the core of who you are. What are those deepest things that make up who you are? And why do you feel the way that you do? I help to get into that. We get in touch with it. And then once you have a different relationship with it, then you can allow it to either transform or to become enhanced or to become even more grounded and rooted. It's, whatever is your personal goal, whatever you're looking to achieve, will align all those deeper internal components to match up with your personal goals. And so that's why I say I want to help you manifest your dreams to reality, because whatever is going on in your dreams, your goals, your unconscious, whatever is underneath that deep layer, I'm going to help you tap into that. I'm going to help you identify it, connect with it, and then give you the steps to make it so, to make it happen in your life. So I really feel that this is a big part of my purpose, is not only to help people dig in and figure out these pieces of information, but find the ways in which you can apply it and make it happen, make it a reality in your life. It's something that I do for myself. I would say that I am constantly checking in with myself, tuning in, making sure that I am okay. Are my emotions okay? Am I feeling good? Am I feeling right? Do I feel like I'm in alignment with my personal goals or my ideas, my beliefs? I do constantly have a sense of checking in with myself to make sure that I'm, to sound a little cheesy, living the best version of myself. And that's, I feel like, something that a lot of people want to strive to do, especially ones that are more conscious or spiritually minded, the ones that, just have a compassionate bone in their body. They do want to be, in some sense, living their best selves. They're the highest expression of who they are. So I think there's always an ideal version, right? We have all these ideas of, oh, I'll look better if this, or I'll do better if I do this, or I'll feel better. We have all these different ideals, but the reality of which is that it takes all of these components, your higher self, the lower vibrations of yourself too, right? The things that maybe keep you stuck or are stuck in some sense of fear. Bringing those together and meeting in the middle, that's where we kind of live on Earth. We're in between the Earth, right? There's like hundreds of thousands of miles of Earth below us at this moment as we speak. And then there's infinite sky, and cosmos and universe, and we're right in that middle zone here, being a human on the Earth plane. So I think keeping that sense of balance is definitely the most important part here, and the most important piece. And I'll help you to find that. I help people to make sure that it's still in alignment for where they are, what they're doing, what their goals are. Again, if you want to connect with me, just head on over to thedreamteacher.com. There you can learn about my work, learn about the services that I offer, and then book a session with me when you feel ready and available too. I will be giving out promo codes the more that I do these shows. So those of you that do listen in, I will be giving out little promo and discount codes for when you do book sessions with me. It's just an incentive. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate your engagement, and I want to be able to offer that as a benefit to just being here and being able to support me and see my work and connect with me. You're gonna learn this really fast about me. I so deeply value connection, and when people come together, that is just something that hits me right in the heartstrings every time. It's something that I will always value that deeply, and really in any capacity, whether it's something silly, something profound and beautiful, something extreme and extravagant, or something small and minuscule. I very deeply value that. So I want to reward that and be able to give out promo codes the more that I do this show. As of right now, I'm not sure I have one for today, but they will be being posted up soon. So if you're subscribing here, you'll be able to see that information post up online, and I'll be editing this out as well. I do want to do some personal readings for people. I'll be doing that here in a few moments. What I want to do first, so if you do want a personal reading, just hang tight. I want to kind of look into just some general information on the energy that is going to affect each zodiac sign within this next week. So we had our full moon, exact full last night. It was around 10:35 p.m. I believe, and it was full in Libra. This is such a beautiful time. Anytime the full moon comes is a time to be able to release. It's the time that, I believe the farmers were able to harvest certain crops. They kind of did it with the cycles of the moon, where you plant it during the new moon and then you harvest at the full moon. It could be different for different agriculture and different plants, but in general, the full moon is the time to be able to release and let go of things. So anytime that the full moon comes, I always try to keep myself on a cycle of following the moon by, when the new moon happens, I plant ideas, right? I plant the seeds for things that I want to see grow into fruition. So I do some kind of writing exercise, and then I have this really cool, it's like this little pyramid. I'll have to get it next time and show you when I do the new moon manifestation. It's this little pyramid, and it's made of glass, and it has this mirror on the bottom. And there's like a little door, and so you put things inside of it, and a pyramid is a very strong energetic cycle. It kind of allows, it's like a transmitter. You know, we all know the pyramids in Egypt and other places throughout the world, but it acts as this sort of grounded transmitter that processes and filters energy. And so I really like it because I'll put in a goal or something I want to manifest, write it on a little piece of paper, and just pop it in there, close the little side, and then let it just sit. Kind of set it and forget it kind of thing, right? So when I do that, I sit there and allow the manifestations to come as they do. You know, this is part of something I believe that I do is, you know, be able to manifest ideas, dreams, which are just collections of ideas, emotions, thoughts, and feelings, into physical reality. Anything that we're using, look at anything physical. I mean, this pen, this was just an idea at some point. This microphone, this was just an idea at one point until somebody manifested it and made it into reality. So essentially, everything that you experience in life is just something that is an idea. That's all it is. So if you get all those thoughts right, put them out there in whichever way works best for you, then you're going to be able to have the opportunity to be able to see it manifest in real life, in physical reality. In so doing, with the full moon, this is the time to really let go. So during the cycle from new moon to full moon, it's about, what's it, like 14 days or so. And it's the time where you kind of experience some build-ups to those goals. When you get to the full moon, this is the time to really embrace just letting go, letting everything out there. During that course of those 2 weeks, you'll usually experience some kind of roadblocks or things that may hold you back, things that are just maybe something you need to address or fix. This is the time to be able to do it and then release all the things that are not serving you anymore for your goal. I know that oftentimes I feel lingering connections with people, and so I'll have to do some kind of cord cutting meditation where I disconnect from their energy and allow their energy to kind of go back to them and keep my energy safe and in containment, where I'm not like acting as some kind of drain or a draining effect on me. So I'll allow that process to happen when I do the cord cuttings and make sure that, you know, my energy is just in my own sense of control, in my own sense of understanding and definition. When that happens, it does feel a lot better to move forward with my own goals, knowing that it's not exclusively dependent on other people or other energies. I always advise that and recommend that, you know, whatever you're kind of working to attain, make sure that you can replicate it, make sure you can do it again if it is something that you want to be able to do again. So the full moon, if you haven't done it yet, if you didn't do it yesterday, it's still a good time to do it today. Take some time to figure out what is it that you want to let go of, what habits or behaviors or relationships or ways of being, anything that you feel is not working for you. Think of it, write it down on a piece of paper. I really like this I'll call it a ritual, because it's something that, you know, you do regularly with the full moon, and it does happen about every month or so, right? Is that I write these things down on a piece of paper, and then I go to a place somewhere outside of my house, and in a contained bowl, something that's non-flammable, I burn those little pieces of paper, and it's like the smoke kind of sends up into the sky all these worries or fears or doubts or ideas, things that we need to let go of, and as if they float back into the sky and back into, you're like trusting the universe, saying, okay, you take it and allow it to be where it belongs. And I really enjoy that because it's a cathartic experience, but it also has a lot of symbolic messages, you know. Burning fire is really a cleansing agent. It allows you to purify, to clear, to cleanse. Think of cooking your food, right? When you want to purify it of anything that is maybe it has diseases, bacteria, etc., you burn it, you use fire, you cook it. So in such a similar way, you know, we're doing that with pieces of ourselves that represent pieces of energy. Again, ways of being, ways of thinking, thoughts, beliefs, emotions, relationships, connections, etc. Those can absolutely be cleansed. I want to make that a clear point here, is that I think a lot of people feel that whatever they're given, whatever life hands them, is all that they're ever going to be able to get. And the way that it came into their life is the only way that it's ever going to be in your life. I want to be clear and tell you that, yes, we all have to experience gravity, right? We all experience gravity. We're all pulled to the ground at some point. So we all understand that reality happens, and, there are things that are challenges, things that are tougher than other experiences or moments. But perception really is such a finicky tool because it can change all the time. It's really based on a lot of internal beliefs and feelings. And it's something that colors the entire world that you see. Your perception absolutely colors the world that you see. And I feel like a lot of people think that whatever they're given is just what they're stuck with. That is not true at all. Every single one of us has the ability to create their own reality. And it can border for all the way to the extremes. It could be completely delusional and out of touch of reality, quite literally, and they're living in another realm. I think of a lot of people that may have extreme cases of overactive imaginations, right, where that kind of superimposes from the back of the mind into the conscious mind, and they maybe lose touch with reality, and they have to find that sense of balance somewhere to be able to integrate both. I will tell you that I don't know if it's something that anybody should strive to do or be, but for me personally, I like to live with my proverbial here, my foot in both sides of my mind, where I am conscious and subconscious all at the same time. And so I believe that affords me a certain receptivity to these psychic abilities, because it allows me to really see the inner workings of the energy and what's happening within the back of the mind of that person, and also relate it to literally reality. What are you seeing in reality based on all these feelings, these emotions, these beliefs that maybe, not in the present of your mind, in the back of your mind, and how it creates what's happening, to you in your life now. So I want to be clear that we absolutely do have the ability to create and manifest our own lives. And we have the ability to color it in whichever way that we want and whatever we see fit. What I really like to help people with is making sure that those desires, what are your wants? What are you desiring, and why are you desiring those things? That's what I really help people identify with. And if it feels, I know a lot of people that are especially maybe more sensitive or empathic or psychic, intuitive themselves. I know that there is a certain depth of feeling out of control, feeling things too deeply. And that's another reason why I want to be here, is to help these sensitive people to really take life into their own hands and to color it however they wish and want. And I think for a lot of people, I do come into contact with a lot of people that have some clear senses of self-doubt, and maybe, a sort of difficult or challenging sense of self-worth. It's a thing that I feel and resonate and connect with deeply, because I just understand that feeling, and I know where that comes from in my own self, where I've experienced it, how I felt it, and how it's impacted my life. And I like to help people in this regards, because it helps you to see exactly what are your motivations, what are you wanting, what are you wanting to experience, and how do you want to get there. Helping to identify those desires and those wants, I think, is a really great step in being able to understand the direction of your life, plain and simple. So I can talk about this stuff forever, as you can see. I really enjoy it. I have a lot of information to give to people. I have a lot of compassion and love to be able to give to others and to help to others. So let me just set the tone here. I'm ready for every question. Whatever area of life that you feel that you need help in, whatever area that feels important to you, something that you just need to know about, something you need to engage in, something you want to grow, something you need to let go of, whatever it is. I'm definitely comfortable with you asking, and me being able to help you facilitate that information coming into your life. Um, I do want to say that as far as live on air things, we should probably always shy away from those medical and legal questions, just because, I'm not a medical professional. I am not a lawyer. I am not affiliated with the court system, judicial system, and I am not in the I do not have any sort of qualifications or degrees to help somebody with medical issues. But what I can tell you are how I feel about things, what I feel a result is going to be, and how I feel it's going to impact you in the future. So something like that I can definitely tap into, but I can't tell you, very specifics about like diseases or things of that nature, because I'm just not qualified to do so. And I don't think you should be asking somebody who isn't qualified, for information about something that you may be concerned with. You should always go to your professionals for whatever, queries that you have in your life and where they are. So of course, being psychic and spiritualist, hypnotherapist, working in the subconscious, there are a lot of things that I can tap into. I mean, essentially, when people ask me, they're like, oh, well, what do you do with hypnotherapy? How can you help me? I'm like, honestly, you name it, and we can work with it. So if there is, the one thing I do want to address as well is if you do bring up things to me where you have some sense of a diagnosis from somebody, so from a doctor, if you have some kind of diagnosis, if that is diagnosed, I will have to work in conjunction with that doctor to be able to help. But if we communicate with things a little bit differently, and you just kind of talk about in general what you're trying to fix or heal, or anything you're trying to obtain in your own self, then we can work together and figure out a proper solution for you. But if there's a diagnosis, I do have to work with a doctor. And I'm more than happy to do that. I'm more than happy to work together. I'm very qualified to help in that regards. And so I would be brought on as like a independent contractor, or in addition to whatever is being served and working through you or with your doctor in that regards. So, okay, so I am going to be doing personal readings here, and I will be taking your questions. What I want to do first is look at the general information about what's happening with each zodiac. So I'm going to use these cards here, the Lenormand deck. And I really like these. Again, as I was saying earlier, it's just a sense of open symbolism that I enjoy, because they do kind of relate to a lot of the images that we receive in dreams, the subconscious images that tie into so many different aspects and characteristics of personality and human persona and experience. And I really enjoy it. So how I do this, I'm just going to look at each sign. So we'll start with Aries, and we are in Aries season, so I think it's a good time to go right from the beginning. Maybe I'll change it up a little bit as time goes on with each show and do something different for each one. But let's just look at a general display of what's happening for each zodiac sign. So let's connect with Aries in general. Let me get a good feel for the Aries energy. Connect with all the people that will be listening and tuning in. So that way, whatever information needs to come out will come out for those that are viewing and listening. All right, what information? What is happening with Aries during this next week? All right, so we got the Child. We got the Moon. We've got the Lily. And we've got the Man. Okay, so the way that these work, I'll show you each card. So we have the Child here. The Child is always about, it's a few different things. the way that Lenormand really works is in connection with each of the other cards. Whatever they're next to, it really allows itself to tell a story. So the child is always something kind of that's new or initiated, something that's open. But next to the moon, it really speaks on a part of the self, an internal part of the self, the inner child, the piece and part of the self that is longing to reach out or make a connection or wants a sense of nurturing. And I keep feeling with Aries that it's all about finding this more sensitive part of your own self, especially if you are a man, or if you are a female, finding a more sensual and childlike, innocent side to a male that you may be connected with in your life in some way. So it definitely looks like this is something new blossoming in Aries right now, where males, I feel like males or strongly masculine females will find this new sensitive part of themselves opening up. It feels, when I connect with it, I can feel it being this internal vulnerability, and especially based on the state of the world that it's in right now, how everybody's in such a strange, weird new place, a place that we never really have been before. I do feel like there is this vulnerability coming out in a lot of people, but it looks like it's especially relating to Aries. They're forced, to be able they're forced to stay at home. They're forced to be stuck there. And I think they're getting in touch with deeper parts of themselves. So it looks like that's exactly what's happening. I think being a little bit more sensitive, a little bit more childlike, in the sense that you connect with that part of yourself, the inner child. Think about this, as we grow and become adults, we are essentially still that child, the child that was 3, 4 years old, 8 years old, we're still that same person. We just grew. Now, science tells us, right, every 7 years, our body completely regenerates. We're a whole different physical being. But it's the memories, it's the feelings, it's the sensation, it's what you had gone through in the past that still exists. The past and the future still exist. They're just kind of points on a linear timeline that we identify as life, outside of this present moment where we always are, right? We're always in the present moment. But you still are those things that happened in your past and the ideas that you believe are happening in your future. That's part of what makes you up in this singular moment right here, right now. Those pieces come together. So you are still that inner child, and getting in touch with it and feeling, what did I feel during life when this was happening? Or how did I feel about myself then? I think it's always a beautiful thing to stay in touch with, because it allows you to have a complete sense of your story, your life, your path. Especially if you're concerned with what's coming up in the future, it's always nice to know, where did I come from to get here now and to where I'm going to be in the future. So with Aries, I really feel like there is just this innocent, childlike energy that wants to come out in Aries over this next week. Perhaps getting some nurturing from somebody close, a nice, stable, strong female vibration, somebody that's in your life that has that. It feels like a really good thing to nurture. I think watch out for the tendency to lash out and to become childlike in arguments, throwing tantrums and things like that. I think watch out for that energy. I know a lot of us feel quite intense when the full moon happens. So there might be, tendencies to react to like pout or throw tantrums or things like that. But the higher expression of that would to be embrace the inner child and to embrace a sense of nurturing, if not by your own self, to nurture and tend to your own self, if you can, with another person. It does feel like a good feminine energy would be great for that. So either, a feminine male or female that's able to give you that sense of solidness, that stability. And that's where I really like Cancerian women. They have that sense of definition for their own selves in this very motherhood, nurturing, tough nurturing kind of way. It kind of feeds into that energy quite well. So Aries, don't throw tantrums and just allow that inner child to come out. Get creative, get fun, allow yourself to have fun with things, and just enjoy that space. All right, let's connect with Taurus here. All these Taurian energies. I am also a Taurus myself. For those that may not know, my sun sign is a Taurus. So I will be listening as well. We're just going to look at the energy of the Taurus for the next week and what they're going to experience where things are going to happen, what's going to come up for them. So let's take a look here. Shuffle the cards, and then I'll show you as I pull them. All right, Taurus. What's the energy for Taurus over this next week? All right, so we have the Letter. We have the Rider. We have the Snake. And we have the Whip. All right. So we have the Letter first. The Letter is always about communication. It could be verbal communication. It could obviously be written communication in some way. So bringing it into modern times, this could be emails, this could be text messages, they could be things, of course, a letter handwritten. Not that that happens too often anymore, but it does look like next to the Rider is always about new pieces of energy or information, or sometimes quite literally a person that kind of rise into your life. It's like they're taking a sense of initiative, they're creating action, they're riding in. There's this very zealous spirit and zealous energy that rides in, but it's next to the Snake. And the Snake is always about withholding, repressing, drawing back. And then next to the Whip is always a sense of quarrel or conflict. So it looks like there is this feeling within Taurus that's happening over this next week where you want to be able to reach out, establish maybe a new means of connection, to show yourself in a different way, to present yourself. But it seems like Taurus is really holding themselves back right now. They're holding back their energy, they're repressing, and it's starting to create some internal conflict and internal stress. I think that's something, and I can speak with this about Taurus, I know this energy. I know this energy of being comfortable. I know this energy of not wanting to put yourself out there, especially if it doesn't seem perfect or seem like the right timing. For Taurus, timing, I think, is a measure of a lot of things in the way that they take action in their life. And so it looks like for the next week, Taurus is trying to hold oneself back. It's trying to put oneself out there, but its habit is to hold oneself back. So I feel like, especially today and over the next day, next 24 hours at least, is a really good time to help get rid of that energy. Get rid of any sense of procrastination or laziness. If you really are trying to put yourself out there in some new way, or if you're trying to communicate with somebody, trying to initiate conversation with somebody that you've been waiting for to talk with, this is the time to put those reservations aside. Why? Because it's creating this internal conflict. And when that happens, it allows it to sit in your own body, your own emotional sphere, your own energy, and to accumulate more conflictual, uncomfortable feelings. It's not conducive to being fully balanced. So sometimes you have to risk putting yourself out there. You've got to risk that space of comfort. If you have that safety net, you're never going to be able to fully figure out if you can jump, if you can fly. You have to make yourself a little bit uncomfortable, make yourself a little bit vulnerable, so that you can allow yourself to ride in and initiate something new and to change the circumstances around whatever it is that you're trying to work towards, whatever you're trying to manifest, or be it a goal, a business, work, or a relationship in connection with a person. Getting out of those comfort zones allows you to it's like it's telling your subconscious self, hey, I see this as valuable, therefore I'm willing to risk this, which, is the sense of comfort. I'm willing to risk that sense of comfort to have the ability or the opportunity to achieve what I want to. So I think that's really solid for Taurus. I think get out of your comfort zone. At the very least, get rid of these patterns or these behaviors or these connections that make you feel stuck. Especially what I was talking about a few moments ago about the full moon. Revisit that, kind of go over these ideas and these topics of how to release, how to disconnect, and how to let go. Doing that little ritual that I told you about, burning those pieces of paper about the things that you wrote down on that you do want to let go. I think that would help a lot, because it seems like you are ready to step into something new. You are ready to achieve, being in the season of Aries, this is the time to come up with new ideas. So the lore goes is that, Aries, being the first sign of the zodiac, initiated this creation of this new idea. And so then Taurus comes in and where Aries usually leaves it, because they're already on to the next idea, Taurus picks that idea up and says, okay, let me tend to it, let me water it, let me plant it, let me see how it grows. And so I feel like this is a good time for Taurus to identify those ideas, those new points of initiation, and what they want to create, what they want to initiate. And that way, when we get into Taurus season, they're going to be able to allow the tending of this growth to happen. So get in touch with those, let go of what doesn't serve you, and allow yourself to find what you're trying to initiate. If you're feeling stuck, even just get in touch with those goals and then do the releasing, so that way okay, my goals are not attached to these feelings that I have about being stuck. I know what I want to get into, and now I know what I need to let go of in that process. And so doing it during the full moon, which is why I say doing it in the next 24 hours. It's always like the 2 days before and 2 days after the full moon that are like the most potent. And I tell people those are always the good times to be able to do these kind of rituals and cleansing. Doing that during that time, it always feels right. So you've got about 24 hours left to be able to get into that. So I definitely recommend that, Taurus. Let go of those things and allow yourself to move forward. Sometimes it's just super important, so you don't get stuck. Trust me, I know as a Taurus myself, I love to be comfortable. I love my little sacred spaces and my indulgent moments, but I also know that I have to put myself out there, be vulnerable, get a little scared, because otherwise, how do you know that something isn't going to work out if you don't even try it? I think, I obviously try to relate people to following love. Love is going to be the ultimate force that allows you to live a life worth something that you value, and to be proud of your life. But using fear as a tool for your own self of navigating some uncomfortable things, I think can be helpful. I don't mean in the sense, projecting fear onto other people or even putting yourself in a state where you are fearful and stuck. It's just using it as a means of, okay, I feel a little bit uncomfortable, and so therefore I'm obviously valuing something. It allows you to get in touch with your value a lot better, which is another very Taurus related word, value. They inherently know value better than a lot of other zodiac signs. So thank you, Taurus. Let's get into Gemini here. Let's connect with Gemini and the energy and information of what's going to happen with them for the next week, things that they should pay attention to, things that will be beneficial to them. Let's get in touch with my Geminis. All right, Gemini. What's the energy that you're going to experience this week? Gemini next week. All right, we've got the stork. We've got the bear. The man. The whip. All right, so first card is the stork. Stork always symbolizes some sense of movement. It could be physically traveling, it could be astrally traveling. And next to the bear is quite a defined energy. It's very strong, it's not very movable, it's got a slow, steady space, but it just has that sense of definition. I mean, think about a bear. When you see it in the wild, you sense it, it's a solid big animal, it's a big creature, and they can look nice, but they also have a certain threat to them. They could tear you apart if they really wanted to. Next to the man, so it is showing me that there will be a strong, solid male energy happening in your life over the next week. And then next to the whip as well, the whip is next to the man here. It looks like there may be some conflicts with masculine figures or masculine energies. I feel like what's happening here with Gemini is that Gemini is kind of always constantly moving, right? And now, again, especially in relation to what's happening in the world, they're forced to be a little bit stuck and isolated, and some areas on lockdown or even quarantine. So they have to be with themselves and they can't move as freely as they would like to. But what it looks like to me is that they will be doing some sense of astral travel in the mental or even psychic spheres. So there may be dreams about intense, defined, bear-like energies, like this. It could even be, legal issues as well. Maybe something is going on legally or in some kind of, I don't know, it just could be something of that nature where law and legal systems, courts, they have that very strong defined energy of judgments, but it looks like this need or desire to travel and to go beyond where one currently is, it does seem like a good idea. It does look like it's going to give you something that you've been missing or something that you needed. But I do feel it ultimately being, looking here at the whip, it does seem to be conflicting with what's going on within your own self. So I think what's important for Gemini to know is do not be persuaded by other people's ideas right now, especially if this man seems to be, if it is a man or a female that's very masculine, that seems to be very persuasive and clear, and they're like, oh, I can offer you this, and I can give you this, and I can do that. I feel that it's wise to take some time to sit back and not fully react to this. So opposite of what's going on with Taurus, for you, it seems like it's going to be important to be able to sit back, take some time to hold oneself back and see, how is this person affecting my life, my energy, my goals, my path and passion? Are they feeding, into what I'm trying to do for myself, or are they taking away? I do feel like if you do run into this energy of this bear-like defined person, male or feminine, a masculine feminine person, I do feel that they are going to add to a sense of conflicting energy in yourself. So I think be careful of that. It's important for Gemini, I feel, to always, follow that their own path, the beat to their own drum, because they just have a perception of reality, of being able to see duality. And I love that about Gemini, because there's a sense of trying to gather and gain the full picture that I appreciate. Whenever we make any sort of determinations in our life or definitions, we should be looking at how we are affected on all sides of reality, right? How is this going to affect me here or there? How's it going to affect me if this happens or that? It's good to look at both sides because it gives you a full perspective, a broad perspective. I also, myself, I have 3 planets in Gemini. So I understand that sphere very well. I understand that mental sphere. And I know that for me personally, looking at all sides of the coin, looking at each part of, whatever I'm defining, it really helps me to get a full sense of understanding and even some sense of control, over whatever's happening. The situation in my life, I can allow myself to not be persuaded and pushed because I'm so caught up in the fun mental experience that I'm having, with that engagement. I think it's important for Gemini to focus on that as well. I feel this awesome mental engagement, but I need to make sure that they are pushing or interfering with my goals in the right way, in a positive way. So for this next week, Gemini, I feel like doing a lot of mental work, mental clearing, but even some kind of meditation or astral travel, playing around with going outside of the body, to be able to get an aerial perspective of your own self, your life, and what's happening around you. I think that's going to be really beneficial, and it's going to serve as something in your energy that gives it a sense of harmony, but a sense of completion as well. When you can attach yourself to different perspectives and different ways of being, I think it allows you a better, more well-encompassed or well-rounded perspective of not only your life, but the reality of people around you. So definitely take some time to sit back and go within the mental spheres of your reality. Do that astral travel, do those manifestations, do the energy work, the emotional work. It feels like a good time for you to be able to do that. All right, Gemini. So just take caution for yourself. Lay low for a little bit. Sometimes these full moons can really mess with your energy here. They can get a little bit intense. All right, let's move on to Cancer. My Cancer people. I do enjoy the Cancerian energy. Something about it just feels solid and home-like. I have, for those of you that know astrology, I have my sun in the fourth house, which relates to the Cancerian energy. And I always appreciate that sense of security and home and protection that the Cancer kind of gives off. So I do enjoy that. So let's look at what is in store for Cancer over the next week. Just in general, get a general piece of information about what you can expect. All right. My Cancers, Cancerian people. All right, we've got the key. We've got the fish. We've got the path. And we've got the bear. Look at that. All right. So we've got the key here. The key always speaks on a very high frequency energy. It's usually kind of insightful moments, whether they are thoughts or emotions, things that kind of come out of nowhere, things that you don't really expect. They kind of strike a little bit as a piece of information. And quite literally, they can unlock things, especially next to the fish. The fish really represents a lot of money or monetary gains, things that are valuable. This fish really speaks on value and abundance. So right away, it looks like just these two together, the key and the fish, there's some kind of unlocking abundance or unlocking opportunity, unlocking things of value that kind of come towards you. Now, the path, which also in other decks is the roads or the crossroads, it does indicate, one, what is kind of streaming ahead of you, what is your path, what's happening in front of you. But it also can indicate changes and things that are moving, a path that has decided to go a different direction. And then the bear, obviously we know the bear a little bit from the last one, which is a symbol of strength, internal strength, being defined, being clear, being solid. So it looks like for Cancer, what's coming up in this next week is that there are going to be opportunities in which you will be able to unlock a sense of abundance in your life, whether that is monetary, whether that's money and financial, whether that's things that are valuable. It could be things like antiques. It could be things of property. It could be maybe things that are valuable. We all know and have different senses of what is valuable in our lives, but it could be unlocking these things for you. It looks like it's allowing some kind of transition for you to be able to be and feel more solid for your own self. And it's interesting how I had mentioned that earlier about Aries, needing that sense of being solid, somebody in their lives being solid. It looks like your energy, if you are Aries, Cancer, maybe a relationship or marriage or connection, family members, you'll be able to have that rapport with one another of having the yin-yang balance, right? Needing to support somebody and needing to feel supported. But for Cancer, it feels like you are going to find a stronger sense of stability for your own self during this time. It does feel to be more in the ways of finances, like things will be a little bit more financially solid for you. But again, it could be things that are just valuable, things that just kind of come to you. You can expect it to be a random or sudden burst. Something that may just strike through, or it could be, the buildup of plans that you have had over time that you finally get to see in fruition right now. And again, it makes sense. We just are in the midst of the full moon, and the full moon is a time of release, harvesting, getting things out there, letting it go. So it makes sense that it would come to you during this time, during this week of, okay, finally, now my path feels a little bit clearer in what I'm going after, and now I can define it to a better degree for my own self. It does feel like what does come to you, whether it is finance or things of value, property, jewels, contacts, whatever it is, that you find valuable in your life and you've been working for. Again, when I say value, think of what you think of when I say the word value. My Cancer people, think of what you think of when I say the word value. That's what's going to be able to step into your life at this time. And when it does, it allows a transition to happen where instead of feeling so up in the air and unsure and confused and loose, you feel stronger in yourself, defined in yourself, convicted of your own beliefs or what you believe is coming in your own life. Having that solidity, I know, is just such an important thing that Cancer holds as quite literally valuable for their own lives. So it feels like it feels like it's overdue. It feels like it's about time, for this to happen. So allow that to come into your life. Allow that space of receiving, being the receiving mode. Be solid in your own self, but also be able to receive. There's nothing worse. It's a great feeling when you can give a gift to somebody, right? But there's nothing worse than when you give that gift to somebody and they don't know how to receive it. They don't know how to appreciate it. It's like, oh, it kind of makes you feel a little weird, I always tell people, yes, it's great to give. It's so great to give to other people, but it's also just as important to be a good receiver as well. Because if you don't receive, and you're like, oh, I don't want this. No, no, no. Oh, thank you so much. But no, 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 I don't want this. You're taking away that joy that somebody else has in giving to someone else. You're taking that away from them. So if you want to, if you have a hard time, if you're that person who refuses a meal or refuses a drink or refuses, whatever, think about the fact that you're taking away the joy that somebody has in giving something to another person. You're taking that away from them. So at least give them that, if you can make yourself think of it in that way. You're giving them that joy as well in this space and be able to give something. So if you can think of it in that way. But Cancer, I think accept this abundance that comes into your life. And it's going to allow you to feel stronger in your own convictions and what you're doing to achieve your sense of your goals and what's coming in your life. All right, so let's move on to, what are we at? Leo. Cancer to Leo. Make sure I'm not missing stuff in the chat. Hi Jakari, hi Peace. Hi Matthew. So I will be doing some personal questions here once I get through all the zodiac and the energy that's coming for each zodiac in the next week here. And then I'll take some questions for personal readings here at the end. All right, so let's move on to Leo. Get in touch with the Leo energy. My Leos, the beautiful, warm charisma and excitement of Leo energy. All right, what's coming up for Leos in the next week? Leo experiencing information comes through Leo. All right, so we've got the bouquet. We've got the clouds. We've got the stork again. And the bear again. That looks like it. Okay, so the first card is the bouquet. So the bouquet always speaks of very harmonious energy, things that are in balance, things that quite literally flourish, right? When you look at a bouquet of flowers, you think, oh, okay, it's got everything together. It looks right, it looks nice, it looks presentable, it looks like things are, feeling in a sense harmony. It gives you that feeling of things just being completed. Next to the clouds, though, the clouds are a little bit self-explanatory. They kind of cloud over things. They make things unclearer. The next card is the stork, which again, as we had talked about before, represents a sense of movement somewhere. And then we have the bear, that sense of solidity, that definition, that internal strength. So looking at these cards together here and connecting with the Leo energy over the next week, it looks like there is this need to feel like things are back in place, like things are belonging, like things just are working. And perhaps Leo has been out of sorts a little bit and feeling like things aren't right, they're forced, that Leo energy is forced to, again, keeping in context with what's happening in the world. They're forced into a sense of isolation, disconnecting from other people, not being able to connect socially how they want to, not receiving all that love and that attention, that Leo absolutely needs. And it feels like whatever's happening in their life right now, this sense of harmony, these sense of things being completed is just out of sorts. It doesn't feel right. It feels clouded over. It doesn't feel like it's satiating you in the way that it should be. So I think for Leo, what's important right now is to be able to move yourself from this confusion, and you're likely going to be moving into a sense of rigidity, being more solid and defined. I think it's important, and that's why this is so interesting. That's why I like the Lenormand cards, is because the bear, as we saw it before with Cancer, is this sense of strength and identifying with that specific definition of feeling solid and strong. But for Leo, and in connection with the cards that happened here, it's like their movement is clouded right now, and that they're likely to be more walled up and blocked off. So you see how it is interpreted differently for what the cards are next to you, whichever cards are there next to you. It gives a different energy, a different feeling. And so with Leo, it seems more like you're going to be blocking your energy off from other people. You're likely going to be shutting people out. It could be as a means of protecting your own self and protecting your energy of like, okay, I can't allow myself to connect with this. I'm feeling, this type of way. I'm feeling stressed or intense. I'm feeling anxious feelings. I'm feeling nervous. I'm feeling upset and sad. And I need to just block people out and protect myself right now. I don't want to be giving this energy to other people, or I just can't be drained from other people right now. Definitely feels like some time for some self-care. That feels like it would be really good to engage with. But it feels like the other thing I think to be conscious of is to make sure that you're not reacting. Make sure you're not reactive to other people and closing them off as a means of trying to prove a point or doing it out of an attitude like, oh, I don't care, I'm out of here, I'm done with you. Maybe doing it in a dramatic way like, I'll never talk to you again, leave me alone, you don't understand me, blah, 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 blah. I think definitely be a little wary of that. Because right now I think what's needed is just self-care for Leo. It feels like because everything is clouded, because the movements aren't coming out in a clear way, you should just take some time to tune into oneself. Jump in that bathtub, put on those cucumbers on your eyes, put the salt in the bath, a little floating candles or something that just seems very beautiful, rose petals maybe, all the lavender oils, or, rose is obviously a very good Leo essential oil. That rose water just feels so right for that moment. I'm hearing my ears ring, and I can feel somebody connecting with this and trying to pull my energy to them, so that's good. It feels like just letting yourself feel centered and like you're your own center of your universe, and giving that energy to yourself feels really productive right now. Not letting yourself lash out, not letting yourself react to other people, but just focusing on what you need. That sense of self-love and self-care really feels important. And I don't mean in this kind of cliche bumper sticker way of like, oh, self-love, I love myself, so screw everybody else, I don't care about them. No. That is not what it's about. It's about feeling right and centered and harmonious in yourself so that you can have better connections with the people around you. When you feel good, everybody else tends to feel good around you. That's because you are the center of your show. You do carry on the centralized energy of the people that are around you. They just tune into you in some way. They find a way to get to you. There is a sense of home or belonging that you create around the people in your environment. So making sure that you're okay allows you to color the relationships around you in a stronger and a happier and clearer way, a way that you want to be able to facilitate. So Leo, take some time for self-care. Get your energy right for your own self. If you need to be isolated, but don't react and cut people off right now. Don't allow any sense of sadness to turn to anger and then react by cutting people out. It just doesn't feel like it's going to be the most conducive thing for what you're wanting in your life as far as what your goals are, building relationships, etc. It just feels right to be able to take some time for your own self, so you don't have to feel bombarded by everyone else's energy. And that way, when you do reconnect, your energy is in a much better spirits. Because you, Leo people, you are that sense of inspiration for a lot of others. You are that excitement, you are that fun, you are that passion that people get excited by. And that's, part of the benefits of your energy. You do get to excite people, you get to make them laugh and entertain them and be deeply loving and just, that beautiful, charismatic, intense warmth in people's lives. So make sure your energy is right so you can give that out in the right way. All right, let's move on to what's next. Virgo. Let's look at Virgo's energy here. I think I'm gonna have to breeze through these a little bit quicker, because I am running out of time. Did not expect to be able to talk so much with you all, but I'm excited to do that. So let's see here. Thank you all for your questions here in the chat. Hi, Kylie. Hi. Hi, He Journey. Hi, Jemima, I believe. Love and kisses. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Let's just get through these zodiacs here, and then I'll take a couple questions, and then we will be out of time. Oh, no. Okay. So Virgo, what is the general energy of Virgo coming up over this week, over this next week? What information do they need? Virgo energy. Where are we with Virgo? Okay, so we got the dog, the coffin, the rider, and the clouds. Oh, looks like there's another card. And the sun. Oh, okay. That's interesting. All right, so the first card is the dog. The dog always relates to friendships, general connections that we have outside of ourselves that do relate to more social experiences. And then the coffin, which, you know, obviously can be a little intimidating, but don't worry too much about it. The coffin is more about symbolizing transitions, things that transcend beyond, right? So when we think of coffin, it does relate to obviously some form of death, but death is just a transition, you know, from one phase to another. So just these two things being next to one another, it looks like right away there are some friendships or some relationships that you have in your life that will go through a transition, that they are going through a transition now. The rider is the next card, so it looks like it's creating some form of initiating something new. Next to the clouds, it looks like it's not super clear what that's going to be, but the sun came out, and you know, Virgo is the first one that 5 cards actually popped out for. And so it does make me feel like it's really important for Virgo to get this sense of inspiration, because they can definitely overanalyze and look into things a little bit deeper and think about this whole death and what exactly that means, but not to worry because the sun did pop out at the end. I think what Virgo is going to see is a transition in some things that are happening in their friendships. Perhaps the physical relationship of the friendship is what's transitioning, where you may lose out on friendships, or you may be cutting out people that just are not serving your life in the way that you thought they were. Now that you're getting a better sense of clarity, you're ready to initiate new steps of your life moving forward. Maybe you're not exactly sure what that looks like over this next week because it doesn't seem super clear, but it's in that lack of clarity that allows you to kind of muddle through and find your inner vision, find, you know, exactly what you feel pulled towards. And I feel like with the sun and the clouds next to one another, it makes me feel that the most important thing to focus on next is going to be the first thing that pops up. When you think about being in clouds or being in fog, right? Think about how your vision is obstructed and how things appear to you through the fog. You know, you don't see it until it's coming up rather close to you, right? And so I feel like with these two cards next to one another, for Virgo, it seems that you need to take what comes to you right away and jump on that journey, whatever that path is, whatever that idea is or that person is, whatever, when you detach from whoever you need to, whatever relationship or social ways of being that needs to be disconnected from and go through a transition, allow that to happen and allow yourself to go through the fog with strength, with determination, with tenacity, and honestly, faith. Faith is the biggest one. Excuse me. Allow yourself to go through it with faith so that way you can trust that the thing that comes up for you next is something that you're supposed to engage in and connect with and be a part of. That feels right because it feels like you are jumping from one way of being to another, one idea to a new idea to another new idea. It feels like a train of things happening over the next few weeks, but specifically this next week is all about allowing the transitions to happen in the friendships and relationships, your rapport with someone specifically or a group of someones, to transform into a way that you want to see them best fit into your life. And just allowing the disconnection to happen allows way for the transformation. Maybe you don't exactly know how it's going to change or what that change is going to look like, but all you have to do is trust and follow the next thing that comes out for you. Whether that's a person that comes into your life, whether that's a thought as a way of being, it could be something as simple as seeing some meme online that resonates with you and tells you how to treat and deal with people, or to deal with yourself. Or it could be quite literally somebody telling you, hey, this is how you need to be. Or it could be an invite somewhere. Whatever, once you make that transition, once you make the disconnection and allow the transformation to happen, the next thing that comes through where you're starting to feel unclear, that's the thing to jump on. So jump on that right away and allow it to lead that train of thoughts into transforming your relationships, transforming the way in which you connect with other people, or quite literally transforming a specific relationship in your life. Allowing that to happen, I think, is going to be for the ultimate benefit of yourself, because it allows you to reform the way in which you hold relationships so that they match and meet, what you're trying to create in your life and the relationships you're wanting. All right, Virgo. So the sun is coming out. Don't be too worried. Sometimes, we just have to go through those transformations for our lives so that we know, okay, who's important, who's valuable, and who values me. Who's going to be giving that space of showing me what I value, who's going to place importance on the things that I need to be shown as important. All right, so let's look at who's next. Libra. Let's look at my Libra energy, Libra people here. What is happening in the next week for my Libras? All right, Libra. All right, we've got the stars. We've got the lily. We've got the moon. And we've got the clover. All right, so the first star here, or the first card, is the stars. The star is a very, very high frequency energy. I always feel this when I feel spiritual influence happening. I feel that same high frequency energy. Like if I'm connecting with a client and I can feel that, I'll state that. And that's very similar to what the stars are. The stars have this very Neptunian kind of vibration where you're in this realm of pure creation. On one end, on the positive end, it really kind of speaks to the just creativity, the inspiration, the even psychic information that kind of comes through. On the negative end, it could be delusion and lost in a sense of illusion, not being honest with yourself, literally getting lost in that delusion or out of touch with reality. The irony here is that both senses are, not fully based in reality. It's a whole different sense of mental space and mental energy. But what it's looking like with Libra is that there does seem to be some kind of inspiration happening. The next card is the lily, next to the moon, next to the clover. So this all is painting a picture for me of things being rather inspirational for Libra at this time. Oh, duh, the Libra is in a full moon right now. That makes sense. It just gives me this sense of Libra being inspired emotionally to open up, to grow in some kind of emotional way. It could be an emotional intelligence. It could be a relationship that gets a little bit deeper, a little bit more connected. A lot of internal, emotional, mental growth is happening. I feel like this is a very psychic time for Libra to be able to connect with others in an intimate capacity. It feels like you could start a new relationship or create a new layer of connection between you and somebody else, somebody that you already do relate to. It feels beautiful in that regards. I feel like this is a great time in general for Libra to be creative, to engage in some kind of artistic process. even to gain inspiration. Again, the moon being full in Libra right now, it just absolutely makes sense that Libra would feel that strong moon energy. It's, of course, the moon comes up for Libra. That's so interesting. I love that sense of connection. But really what it's all about is gaining inspiration from a higher source for personal and internal growth. That really is the biggest thing. So Libra, whatever you can do to engage in that kind of growth, engage in that energy, I think it's going to be massively beneficial for you. So enjoy that. Allow yourself to reach these new spaces, reach these new creativities. Because you really are drawing in higher energy right now, energy that's coming from a higher source, whether it's higher self, God, universe, spirit, source, whatever you believe in, whatever your personal beliefs are. You are drawing energy from that universal higher space, that higher source. And you're going to be able to give that into the relationships that are in your life, the things that you hold valuable, the things that you find beautiful. You're going to be able to give that sense of beauty away to other people and other energies. All right, so let's move on. Thank you, Libra. We're going to move on to Scorpio. Let's see what's going on for my Scorpio people. You guys, I might have to change my microphone here because I have to plug in my laptop. Oh no. Okay, so like I said, this is my first live stream, and I'm still experimenting around with all my equipment and everything. I did not expect to be able to talk this long, but I'm glad that I did. Now I just gotta learn to monitor what's happening or get an adapter for my MacBook so I can plug in all these different things at once. So I might have to change my audio, so bear with me while I go through all these experimentations here. Bear with me. I'm still a human. I'm still a human person. I still have growth and changes and challenges and mistakes to go through. So we might just have to give that a little bit of a change. Actually, let me do that now so you folks make sure that I hear you. This one is for the mic. Yes, okay. All right. So I think you can all still, if you can still hear me, let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Otherwise, I will have to do a little bit of a change here. So if you guys are listening in, just let me know if you can still hear. Audio capture, let's see. Okay, good, awesome. Thank you, Jemima, thank you. All right, so let's move on to our Scorpios. Do we have any Scorpios here? Any Scorpios listening? I have, some of my own personal favorite signs and signs of, in my own chart where I have planets, in different signs. Scorpio is definitely one of them that I have a strong placement in. For those of you that are within the same generation as I am, the Pluto and Scorpio generation, sound perfect now. Awesome. Thank you. I have a strong placement with that, the Pluto and Scorpio. Quite a vibration, quite an intense energy. So for those of you that are Scorpio that are listening in, let's see what's coming up for your week here. Let's see where you are. All right, my Scorpios. What is coming up for you in the next week? All right, we've got the Woman. We've got the Ring. We've got the Lily. And we've got the Coffin. Oh, and we get another card, the Whip. Okay. So, first off, the Woman. So it does look like feminine energy or a feminine male will be predominant in your energy or somewhere around you at this point. But it looks like next to the Ring, so the ring always signifies some kind of bond, right? It signifies something that is a bond or relationship in your life, some form of a connection. So what's happening right away is just these two cards right away. The woman and the ring show me that there is some kind of bond with a female or female-like person that's going to be prevalent or important. Now these next three cards, we've got the lily, we've got the coffin, and we've got the whip. So these three together, what this is showing me is that it does look like there is a new transition, new piece of information that is going to be coming out that does create some conflict or some tension. When I connect with this psychically, what I'm connecting with is that there is something that becomes unearthed, something that is figured out, something that you find out about this person that definitely puts things in a little bit of a difficult situation. It looks like it might be a little bit tense. It looks like it's going to be uncomfortable. But ultimately, I feel like you uncovering information, one, is part of your purpose. It's who you are. It's just what you do. Scorpio, this is so natural for Scorpio to figure this kind of information out. It's just the way in which you resonate and work with other people. It comes to you naturally. So I feel like you finding this piece of information out, it doesn't feel inherently negative. This, whatever you figure out, whatever information you uncover, it feels like it's adding a depth of realness, of genuineness, of rawness, of authenticity to this relationship. So really try to piece it in your mind in this regards of, okay, I found out this information, it might not be so great, it might be something that is jeopardizing or causing this relationship to transform in some way, to change in the way that it appears, but it is allowing me to get to an authentic way of relating or connecting. So although the information may not be favorable or something that you wanted, it is allowing you to get raw, to get real with this relationship, this either female or a feminine male in your life that exemplifies feminine energy here, and the bond that you have. It's allowing that bond to get real. Is this person real? Are they authentic? Are they genuine in my life? Or, are they just feeding this a bunch of BS? Is this something I just, feel I need to disconnect from? Or do they need to be more open and vulnerable and raw with me? I feel like a lot of Scorpios get bad reps because they just are naturally raw and real and can strike and get to the core and depth of things. And I think that scares a lot of people. I think it makes them look like, they're scary to others and intense, but really they just want authenticity. They want that rawness. They want that realness. They want something that is just plain and simple real. They just appreciate that so much. So it feels like you have, over this next week, there's an opportunity for a relationship to get deeper in this regards. There is going to be some kind of transformation that takes place. How it happens, is up to you. You can choose whether you want to disconnect. You can choose whether you want to force the relationship to go deeper and dig deeper into things that are real, that you can find some stronger roots within. But that's ultimately going to be up to you. So you can expect that to happen here. Uncovering pieces of information that allow a transition in a relationship with a feminine energy to take place. So seems totally in line with Scorpio here, and especially again under a full moon, all these energies are intensified and kind of come to the forefront right at once. All right, Scorpio, thank you. Let's move on to our next sign here, which is our Sagittariuses. We'll look at where my Sages are, what's happening in their life, and what's coming up in the next week. I like doing the week because it feels like a good check-in of like, okay, what's happening for me? What can I plan for? Where am I going? What am I going to experience? I think measuring things in a week feels nice. So let's see what's happening for my Sagittarius people. All those Sagittarius, do we have any Sagittarius in here now listening in? If we do, then be sure to pay close attention. All right, so what is happening in this week for Sagittarius? Happening in this week for Sagittarius. Information for Sagittarius for this next week. All right, so we've got the stork. We've got the mice. We've got the tree. and the stars. All right, Sagittarius. So, the stork represents some kind of movement, as we talked about before. The mice. The mice is something interesting. This is an energy that kind of embraces things going missing, things being like gnawed at, being taken away, chipped away. The tree is a very solid energy. It's talking about growth and being able to take some time to reflect. And then we have the stars, which again is that very high frequency, high energy, inspiration, creative energy. So it looks like what's happening here with Sagittarius is that there is some kind of movement happening in your life that is annoying, something that feels pressing, feels like it's draining your own energy. It feels like it's taking away from something that you already have. And it is forcing you to really take a moment to reflect. Okay, I'm having this thing happen in my life where I'm just, I'm uncomfortable by it. This movement is something that I don't really want to experience. So I need to take some time to reflect. I need to look at, where are my roots? What do I believe in? What do I hold dear? How can I feel more secure in myself? And what I feel is going to happen is that when you take that moment, you are going to get a sense of inspiration. You are going to be inspired in some way, whether that be by your own intuition, by divine guidance, by another person, somebody or something that you kind of discover when you take that moment to reflect and sit back and rediscover your roots, something that re-inspires you, that says, okay, I can do this with a new vigor. I can do this with my own twist. I can deal with these annoying circumstances or this annoyance, this annoying movement in my life in a way that works for me. I think you're going to be able to find that relationship if you do take a meditative approach to it of, this is what this is the movement that's happening and this is the inspiration I draw. And I think you're going to be able to find a merging between the two that allows you a sense of completion, allows you a sense of understanding or finality, making it work in your terms. It feels like that's the most predominant term for Sagittarius right now, is that, okay, yeah, so you might have to deal with something annoying. That's definitely sucks. It's taking away from who you are or what you feel you're doing. But you're also allowed to gain your own inspiration from it and do it in a way that feels unique, that feels interesting to you, in a way that gives you that Sagittarian experience of, okay, I got to do this, but make it my own. Let me do it with my own twist. Let me do it with my own flavor. Let me add, the zest that I want to it. And I feel like it's going to create a beautiful symbiotic moment for you where you can tie in reality with inspiration. And when you tie them in together, those are some of the most beautifully creative moments that we see in humanity, where people just are inspired by this approach, by this way of doing something. And I think Sagittarius has an ability to bring that sense of innovation to whatever it is that they're forced to do, or whatever they're annoyed by, whether it is another person or a situation or an event. They can bring that new innovation to this experience where everybody can learn from it. And really, Sagittarius, they really are such great teachers because they are forever students. They are the sign that is constantly ready to always learn about something or travel and see something new, experience something different. They are here to help themselves learn so many different things, but then they can, over time, turn that into being a teacher and give that energy or information out to other people. So I feel like whatever you're doing now, however you get over this annoyance, by some sense of self-reflection, and then drawing inspiration from a higher energy or higher source, you're going to be able to innovate it for yourself and give it to other people, so that you're over it, you're done, you're on to the next thing, you're on to the next experience, and those people can learn about it, from whatever you did in the past. So I think it'll be a good energy for you, but I also feel it being something that does benefit other people as well along the way. So take those annoyances with a grain of salt, Sagittarius, and convert it and allow it to be something that serves you, something that works for you. Make it your own. We all, like I said earlier, we all have to deal with gravity. We all feel gravity, but in the ways in which we defy it, right? Whether we jump into an airplane, bungee jump, whatever it is, the way in which we defy gravity, I think colors the flavor of your character, colors the flavor of your experience, and is individual to who you are. And I think that's what allows things to shine through and why some people shine out in beautiful ways. So, do that for your own self, Sag, with this annoyance that you have coming up. Color that in your own way. All right, let's look at our next one here. We've got, what's next? Capricorn, right? Sagittarius, Capricorn, yep. Okay. Let's look at what's happening for my Capricorn people this week and this next week. My Capricorn people, what's happening for you in this next week? Capricorns. Capricorns in this next week. All right, we've got the tree again. Happening for Capricorn. We've got the cross. Capricorn. We've got the snake. And we've got the ship. All right. So Capricorn, first is the tree. As we were mentioning before, tree is definitely a solid space of being able to understand what you're connected with, holding your own roots, what are your beliefs, takes time to reflect. Next to the cross is a little bit more of an intense energy. Sometimes it does relate to spirit in general, but oftentimes it does create a sense of internal conflict. Think of a cross, it's got two, a lateral, a vertical and horizontal pole that intersect with one another here, right? And it does create a sense of things crossing, quite literally, yes, intersecting in some way. So it can be conflictual, but it is always, always, always significant of something that generates, something that may take away from other side, but generates or gives value to the whole. It's always a moment to kind of step back and gain an objective perspective. Next to the snake here, and then the ship. So what I feel is happening for Capricorn is that it looks like they're kind of going through this internal self-doubt. It looks like they're questioning some important things about who they are, what they're doing, and it looks like there may be even a certain level of detachment from the self. I think for right now, for Capricorn, it feels like, there is a lack of trust. There is a sense of suppressing or holding oneself back. And again, I use this, the ship as an understanding of things being distant. The ship does, talk about things traveling or going beyond. The ship really signifies, like the stork signifies movement, the ship signifies movement, but at a distance, things being far away. So I feel like you're getting farther away from yourself, Capricorn. It feels like you're in this moment of self-reflection where you might be in turmoil about, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Who am I? Really asking these deeper, more existential questions about your own life. And perhaps, Capricorn, you're trying to bury them. Perhaps you're trying to get so lost in your work that you're burying these deeper questions about yourself and therefore detaching and getting further and further away from your own self. I think that is a tendency for Capricorn to become obsessed and buried in work. But for Capricorn, it's important to know who you are outside of the work that you do so that you can bring your best foot forward in the work that you do, because it is very important. So I think for Capricorn, be careful of suppressing these deeper existential questions because they could be leading you to something really important in your own self, in what you're doing, in your own goals or ambitions, or in your relationships. If you exclude a part of yourself, you might be missing out on something that is adding to the entire picture, the entire value. Again, whether that's a relationship, that you could be deepening and creating a deeper sense of a bond or a deeper love or commitment, or if that's some kind of project that you're working on, something that you're doing with work, it could be something that just comes to you as form of inspiration or intuition, figuring out the deeper parts of yourself and how it relates to the business or relates to the work, or something that you could even literally provide for other people. Sometimes those little pieces of information, they're like little golden nuggets, that can contribute to the whole. And so Capricorn, if you're suppressing parts of yourself, yeah, you might be suppressing the bad stuff, the things that you might not want to deal with that seem a little bit challenging or difficult, but you could be suppressing all these good things as well. You could be suppressing all those little pieces of information that add to the greater picture, that add to the whole. As you should know, mechanically, a company or something, it works with components and pieces together. Relationships, even works with this as well. They add all little components and gears and levies and pulleys and systems that all work together to generate the completion of the whole. And so I think if you neglect those moments, you could be missing out on some of those really important pieces. So I think the point for Capricorn right now is that yes, you are going to be in self-reflection. Yes, you are going to take some time to have a moment to look over objectively, have an aerial perspective of what's happening in your life, and it may be at the point of it being existential. What is my purpose? What am I doing? Does this add to my purpose? What is my path? I think not suppressing those things is going to be good, because if you do suppress them, you are going to distance yourself from your own self. You get farther away from yourself. And think about somebody in your life that you have met who seems like they're just not in tune or in touch with themselves. There's a certain sense of fakeness or uncomfortability that happens being around them. They don't feel real. They don't feel genuine. They don't feel like they're adding to any sense of something good, in your life or another life. It just feels like they're not adding to the right energy. So I think about, what it means for somebody to look like they're detached in their lives, and why you wouldn't want to be that way. So take that into account, Capricorn, and allow yourself these moments to ask yourself the deeper questions over this next week. Sorry, I had to have a sip of water. I've been doing a lot of lemon water lately. It just feels nice and clear and cleansed and clean. Anything I ingest lately, I really want it to be healthy and of good value so that my body can absorb it in the right way. Because as we all see, there are some weird things happening in the earth right now. So Capricorn, take this time for yourself to reflect and enjoy that. Let's move on to my Aquarius people. Where are my Aquarius at? Where is my Aquarius group? I know I've got quite a few Aquarian people that I connect with as clients, people I connect with as friends. So let's see what is happening in your next week, Aquarius. All right, the energy of my Aquarius people. What is going on for Aquarius over the next week? All right, we've got the anchor. We've got the path. We've got the ring. And we've got the book. All right. So the first card here is the anchor. The anchor always signifies and symbolizes something that is solid or heavy, right? Something that can be relied upon. And next to the path, as we know, it's either sometimes the roads or sometimes called the crossroads. It looks like what you're focusing on right now, what's happening in your life is figuring out what feels like the most solid path for your life. Now we have the ring, which seems like not only do you have a focus on it, but it seems like you're developing a relationship with it. And this is next to the book as well. The book it's speaking on a whole bunch of information, but it's unknown, right? In the image, the book is closed, so it's not been discovered yet. So the book always signifies something that is not fully known, but is something to be explored, something that can be explored, that can be learned about, something that you can dive into and figure more out. So it looks like, Aquarius, you're really diving into this new path of solidity for your life, something that you're trying to gain more definition from, something that you're really trying to develop this relationship with. It could be a means of, again, a person or a relationship. It could be, more specifically, what I'm feeling is like a little project or something that you're doing that it feels like you're becoming absorbed with, a new opportunity. But really, it's just, honestly, it feels like it's more of a general thing with Aquarius of finding the solidity in your own path in your own life, finding what makes you feel more secure, finding what makes you feel like you are something that you just develop as a way of being or an attitude. It looks like you're really opening this new part of yourself that just feels more solid. Aquarius definitely has quite a broad, far reaching energy, being a little bit more ambiguous, being able to connect with so many different things. I know a lot of Aquarius, when I've talked to them, a lot of them feel like, oh my gosh, I don't belong here. I'm like an alien on another planet. These people are weirdos. I don't relate to them at all. But then everybody else calls the Aquarius weirdos. And, I think Aquarius just has this quite an expansive, ambiguous energy. And perhaps right now, what's looking like is happening is that they are finding a sense of solidity for themselves in their life, but more specifically, their path, what they're choosing to do, what's happening in their future, what they're engaging upon. It seems like you're going to be developing a relationship with this sense of solidity. It's like for Aquarius, I've talked about this before, having something that's a rock that can anchor you down so that you can fly high, so that you can fly wherever you want, to feel liberated and free, but you still have that rock grounding you and keeping you connected to whatever is important, keeping you connected to reality. It feels like that's going to be an important piece for you because you don't fully know yet how that's going to happen. You don't fully know yet what that's going to look like. But you know that it feels right, and it's that feeling that I feel is going to be able to allow you that sense of exploration for whatever is coming in your life, in your path, whatever you're holding as your important goals, whether that is a relationship and connection with a person, whether it is a work, business, venture, or whether it is a project, or whatever it is that was within your goals. I do feel like you're going to be able to gain more information as you feel more secure and rooted and anchored. And I think that's a big thing with Aquarius is that you don't often know what's coming up, right? You don't often know how things are going to work out. You don't often know how things are going to impact you. And you are this kind of explorer. You are this information gatherer. You can kind of dive into things and look at them and map them together and figure out, okay, this is what's going to happen. This is where this is going to take me. This is the information I gain. This is how I get there, and this is how I'm going to find that treasure. Finding and feeling like you're more secure right now and gaining that sense of inner security and quite literally developing a relationship with the path that you're creating for your life is going to afford you the opening of information and finding out more pieces to this puzzle of your own life or your own path and goals that you're creating. So allow yourself to really feel that security this week. And I think you're going to be able to find more information coming for you. All right. Thank you for my Aquarius people. We're going to go on to our Pisces people now, our last one here. We'll go into Pisces and what's going to happen for you over this next week. See kind of where you are and the energy that you will be experiencing or things that will be coming towards you as far as moments, waves, inspirations, what have you. All right, my Pisces people. Do we have any Pisces here at this time? If you're new to my channel, thank you for being here. Thank you. This is actually my first show doing YouTube live stream, so I appreciate you all being here. I'm going to take just a couple questions. I do have to get going because I have some clients coming up here. I'm going to take just one or two quick questions in the chat, but I am going to be doing this show regularly, so please hit the subscribe button, be alerted of my shows by hitting the bell, and when they're coming up, because I do want to give out free readings here often, at least once a week, if not multiple times a week. I want to be able to do this, to be able to give back, to be able to connect with people. If you did just join in, you can find me and connect with me privately if you want to contact me at www.thedreamteacher.com. That link is in the description there, but if you're listening in, and you can type it in elsewhere, thedreamteacher.com, and you can go to that contact me page if you want to get in touch with me, ask me a question or what have you, and you can obviously book sessions and appointments with me. I do offer a psychic consultation one-on-one. I am staying away from hypnotherapy online just because I do prefer that to be in person. It's something that is there's a lot going on with hypnotherapy and a lot going on getting into the subconscious mind. So I do prefer that to be in person. Once we have worked in person though, at least once before, then I would be willing to explore working at distance, online sessions with you once we've done it in person already though, because already, the tone and energy is set and I know how you work and I see, there are things that I'm looking for when I do put someone into a hypnotic state. there are certain signals and cues and things I'm looking for that I do need to see in person. So I could do psychic consultation. I do have 30-minute, 1 hour, 60-minute, and 90-minute sessions available. So you can go ahead and explore that. I do have some information on podcasts and things, and I will be updating my website regularly, but that's the best way to get in touch with me. So let's look at our Pisces people here, and I'll take 1 or 2 questions in the chat. So let's see, you can all type those questions in there, and I'm just going to allow myself to be drawn. So whatever I feel is most pressing, whatever has the most energy behind it, I'll be able to connect with that. I'll really try to get to whomever I can. So go ahead and type your questions in the chat now if you want to, while I connect here with Pisces energy and what's coming up for them in this next week. All right, my Pisces people. All right, so we've got the Sith, we've got the Stork, we've got the Ring, and we've got the Clover. All right, Pisces people, so the Sith is the first card. Looks a little intense, but don't worry. It usually is, quite obviously, it's a cutting out of something, you know, disconnecting. Next to the Stork, which is all about movement. Next to the Ring, which is about relationships or bonds. Next to the Clover, which is about growth and expansion. So it looks like, Pisces, you are going through an important moment in your life where you have either lost something or you are disconnecting from something. Purposefully, you're cutting something out, which is finally allowing you to move forward in the relationships in your life. It looks like either you're letting go of an attitude or a behavior or a way of being, or you're disconnecting from somebody. Maybe you've had to choose between 2 different people and you're finally making a decision and disconnecting. Either way, you're disconnecting from something. You're allowing something that doesn't serve you anymore. And when you do disconnect, if you've been afraid of doing this for a long time, it's good that you're finally going to be able to do it now in this next week, because you're going to allow relationships in your life to flourish. You are going to allow these things to grow, things that you wanted, have been waiting for probably for so long. I can almost imagine Pisces sitting here like, oh my gosh, I've been in this transition. I've been just waiting for so long for this person or this thing to happen. And all that's been waiting for was for you to cut out the stuff that wasn't working for you, to cut out something, you know, that has been adding to the whole, or well, quite literally taking away from the whole sense of, you know, whatever it is that is your goals or aspirations or drive, whether you are focused on relationships or love or work or business, what have you. You're finally able to cut out these things that are not serving you anymore. I highly recommend, Pisces, doing this today if you haven't done so already. Cut out what is not serving you today and allow it to be in connection with the moon. Allow it to be part of this lunar phase of reaching the sense of fruition, the complete sense of the full moon, and then letting go and letting be. Let go, let God, right? Let go and let God take care of everything else. Let the universe take care of whatever else that you know needs to happen, whatever transition needs to happen. Because it looks like you are ready to not only just grow in your own self and the relationship with your own self, but the relationship with other people. The bonds with other people feel like they are going to be a lot more predominant, like they are going to be more expansive, that they are going to give you a sense of just being fulfilled, feeling more warm, feeling more open, feeling like things are actually moving forward or creating a sense of growth within just the confines of the relationship, quite literally, you know, within the bond. It does feel like they're going to be able to experience a sense of growth. So Pisces, cut out that stuff that isn't working. If you've been finally able, if you're ready, make that decision right now. This is the time to make a decision. Right now is the time to make a decision so that your life can be affected in positivity of moving forward with growth, with expansion, with letting the things that you want to see come to fruition, literally come to fruition. So make that decision, make that disconnect if you need to, and allow the growth to happen. You know, think about a plant. You know, when you prune a tree or a plant, you're pruning it and cutting it so that it's able to grow elsewhere and to grow healthier in another way. Think of it in that way, Pisces, if you can, is that you're pruning, you're shearing the things that, you know, you're cutting out what areas you don't want things to grow in, and allowing it to grow in the way that you want. All right, so I'm going to try and connect this mic back again while I do the rest of these readings. Let's see, mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Hello, hello. Let me know if you all can hear me. All right, so the apple from tree of Sagittarius. Lord, those things, I know. I can imagine what it would be like to have a Sagittarius child. That would be intense. Oh, I love that you used the hypnotherapy download. That's awesome. It really, I just listened to it myself as well. It was, I used it yesterday as a way of being able to disconnect from energy that maybe I didn't want to connect with, or getting right within myself. That was really what I was trying to use it for. I was like, okay, where's my energy? What's going on with me? And what do I need to learn from my own self? And it was something important that I just felt I needed to enter into that meditative space, and it felt really nice. So I'm glad that you used it, Kylie. That's awesome. Hi, Marie. Hello, welcome. Thank you, Jemima, again. Thank you all for being here. All right, so I am going to a little bit of an echo now. Okay, let's see what's happening. Oh, there we go. It should be okay. It should be good now. Looks like my input capture is doing well. Let me know if you still hear an echo. But I won't be on too much longer. I'm going to take like 1 or 2 questions. Let me just scroll through this chat here. See, it looks like a few people have been asking questions. Where are we? Love and Kisses 48. Are you still here? If you guys have a question, please type it in the chat and I'm going to connect with you. Give me your first name and your date of birth, and I'll either connect with your energy in general, or I will specifically answer your questions. So I'm going to do like 1 or 2 people, and then I do have to get going because I do have other clients waiting for me. So go ahead and type that in the chat if you guys do have questions. We've got about 3 minutes for that to happen, so if you guys are asking questions, let me know now. Because then I will have to get going soon. Otherwise, I have no issues. I can sign off. I just wonder, I do see a lot of questions in the earlier part of the show, but I just don't know if y'all are here. So I want to be able to interact with you if you are here and you are listening. So if you guys are here still listening that asked questions earlier, make sure you type in the chat here. And let me know that you're here so I can answer those questions. That would be a beautiful thing. Otherwise, all right, well, it looks like nobody's asking any questions, which I'm totally okay with. It seems you guys had questions earlier, but you might have tuned out a little bit, and that is okay. There we go. Thanks, Kylie. Okay, is Dave okay as he disappears and doesn't communicate? Let's see, Dave. Let me connect here with Dave's energy. Mr. Dave, what's happening with Dave? Okay, so when I'm looking at Dave here, I do feel this. I feel this pressure on the heart or the chest, if that makes sense. I feel like there might be a little bit of a concern with, I just do feel some pressure on the heart and chest, and that does make me feel a little bit concerned with health, wellness. I feel like it could be one of 2 things. It could be some physical pressure in the heart and chest. The other thing I feel like is that it could be some sense of heartache or heartbreak, but I'm not really feeling that one as strongly. When I'm connected with Dave, I immediately feel this warmth all over my body. I feel like my body is warm. I feel like there is this, like my temperature in my body is rising. It could be some kind of a fever, which is entirely possible, right? Because of, just this whole thing that's happening in the world with this pandemic and whatever. Perhaps, he maybe contracted the disease that's going around everywhere, because I do feel pressure on the chest, and I feel my skin heating up quite quickly. I can feel that warmth. I can feel like my whole body is starting to like sweat. So I feel like perhaps there could be some kind of sickness happening with Dave, Kylie. I don't feel like there's an intention as far as not communicating or disappearing. It just feels like circumstance. It feels like because of whatever happened, it's the circumstances happening that's causing this. I don't feel like it's going to be something that lasts for long term. It does feel like this is happening short term. So that's what's leading me more into thinking that there could be a temporary withholding because of a sickness or something that's happening. Again, I'm not a medical professional and don't claim to be, but I'm just kind of telling you the feelings that I'm getting and the impressions that I'm getting off of the energy when I connect with Dave. I don't feel like it's going to be a long-term disconnection. It does feel like something that is just temporary, but it feels like he's got to get his energy and self back into balance, back into alignment. So the disappearance just feels temporary for right now. So allow Dave to just get healthier, get back into his own space. His partner works for government customs, interviewing people coming into the country. Well, that could make perfect sense as far as if he did contract the disease or something like that. If he is in close contact with those people, that could be perfect sense. If his partner did bring it back home or in some way give it to him, that would make perfect sense to me. But it feels like this is just temporary. I wouldn't worry too much about it. I think that they are going to be okay, but I think they just need some time to heal, allow their energy to get back into their own balance, so things become clear. All right, thank you for the question, Kylie. I'm gonna look into one more here. Love and kisses, thank you, Jennifer. All right, April 4th. Oh, happy birthday. Happy birthday, Jennifer. All right, so Gozi, is Gozi coming back into your life? I assume Gozi is a person. If you want, you can throw their date of birth as well in the chat because it'll allow me a more direct stream to their energy because I do feel this is another person. But if not, no worries. I'm just going to connect here with the energy that I feel between yourself and Gozi and just kind of see what comes up in general through your perspective. Why I always ask the dates of birth is because they it allows me just a direct channel of each entity, you know, their energy. And when I can do that, it makes it much more direct and clear. But let me just connect here with you and Gozi and see what the energy is between you two. Oh, you think it's April 28th? Okay, well, that's fine. We'll just kind of look at where the energy is and kind of what's happening between you two. So Jennifer and Gozi, what's the energy between Jennifer and Gozi here? Energy between Jennifer and Gozi. Okay, that's interesting. So right away, I do feel that breakdown that happened. It feels like whatever you two went through, you know, it was some heavy breakdown because things just didn't feel as secure or stable. But what I really feel happening is that you did go through this breakdown, disconnection, disappearance, whatever happened, or quite literally it could be a breakup, to understand what was solid in the energy between the two of you, to understand, okay, maybe things disconnected when you broke down because of this, but you're now coming to learn about what was real, what was solid, what was valuable, what you could rely on between the two of you. And you're coming to understand that now. I do feel that there's going to be some sense of a reconnection or the two of you being in one another's life again, because what Spirit keeps showing me is this sense of renewal, this sense of a new layer of your relationship opening up. They keep showing me this feeling of something kind of springing or coming up as like a new plant, right? Like a new flower or something in that way. But it feels like you're understanding the layers of the connection, the depth of the connection in a whole new way. So I think that you are going to see reconnection between the two of you, and you're going to see that you can identify the things that did not work in your connection in life before, and really identify and rely on what does work, what is honest, what does bring out, you know, the better qualities within one another. I think because of this disconnection, you can see these things more clearly. And what I'm also showing is that it does create, again, that new layer of connection. It's going to feel new. It's going to feel like you're kind of replanting this energy and the nature of the connection together. So I do feel like that that reconnection happening, but I just want to detail to you that I feel that it is in a more positive structure. Like it feels like the foundation of your connection has a better grounding, a better rooting, just a better foundation. Really detailing, really allow yourself to detail when this does happen. Allow yourself to detail those things that didn't work and the things that do work, the things that you cannot stand and the things that you both find valuable. Really communicating that to one another. It just feels important because when I even feel you two communicating about it, it just feels like it adds to that newness in the foundation. It feels like it adds to that, just that whole revitalized feeling that I keep connecting with. Do I know when? I can ask and see if there's anything that comes up. Let me just get a general sense of when I feel this energy surfacing. Let's see if they show me. So it feels like I keep feeling like in May you're really going to start to see that communication, because in the remainder of April it feels like there's just too much intense energy, and so Spirit keeps showing me around Taurus season that I feel this coming up, which feels more around May time frame, like in the first, like near the end of the first week of May, beginning of second week of May, that I feel this coming about, as I can start to feel that communication. It feels like there's this back and forth rapport that's happening, and it feels like you two just getting to have that rapport, talking about what happened in the past and being present about, where you want to see things happening in the future. It feels very exploratory. It feels very, it feels like you're kind of creating it in that moment. So really just enjoy that moment. I think you can see that. Let's see, where are we now? We're April 8th, so about a month from now, literally about a month from now, I feel like you're going to be able to have these conversations, see that rapport between the two of you, and really start to rebuild some stuff together. So you were right about our connection. Yay! I just tell you what I feel, and I feel like, there is something valuable here. There's something important here between you both. You really have this yin-yang energy with one another, where like you can create and open up, and he can sustain, and I'm certain he probably gets stubborn in his own right, and you're ready for movement and he's not moving forward. You're like, okay, what in the world are we gonna do? Like, come on. So I feel like you can feed each other in that way, but I think what you're gonna come to understand now is that, okay, we now have an understanding of what we think is right and valuable, and what I don't like and dislike, and what we do value and what we do connect with. You're very welcome, Jennifer. Happy birthday again. I hope you enjoyed your day and enjoy your time right now. And good luck with this connection. I'll be here next week. I'm so sorry, Monica. That was my last reading for today. I do have to sign off because I do have other clients. But I will be doing a show multiple times, definitely once a week. I might be doing shows more than that, so please subscribe. Please, if you want to get readings, I'll be doing free readings on here as much as I can. And if you subscribe, you'll be known and alerted when I do schedule the shows. I am trying to do them where I schedule it in advance, so that way it is coming up and you can plan ahead and set your little reminder for it, so you can come in and get your reading here. But I also will be doing random shows too. I do little pop-ups and do little fun things. I really like to have fun and experiment with all sorts of different ideas and new things. So if you're subscribed and alerted, you will be alerted of those shows in the future as well, and you can pop in and sharing those moments with me. I like to create games and fun moments, and I like to help people learn and create new things for their own self. So it's a lot of fun. I want to do a lot of different things with this channel here. So if you do subscribe, then you will be a part of that. Again, if you want to get in contact with me, you can find me on my website. It's thedreamteacher.com. That link is in the description below. I appreciate all of you being here. Thank you so much. It's great to reach out in this way. It's nice seeing fresh faces and familiar faces being here. Thank you so much, everyone, for that support. I really want to engage in this more, just like it was with my radio show. This just feels like it has a whole different energy to it, you know? It feels like it's got a whole different vibe. So please, yes, subscribe so that way we can all stay connected, and I can see you here frequently when I do these shows. I really, like I said, I want to do at least once a week, but maybe there will be more. I'm echoing again. Oh no! Well, I guess that's a good time to sign off so I can figure out how all this equipment works. Again, this is my first show, so bear with me as it does grow in content and success here. Just bear with me as I learn what are the right things to do and how this works. All right. Well, thank you all again. I hope you have a beautiful day. I will be giving out the timestamps at the end when I'm done with the streaming, as far as where you can look over your readings over again, but also where each zodiac, the energy for the week for each zodiac was. I'll give little timestamps, and I'll put that in the description below so you can kind of click over again if you missed out on it before, and you can look over where it is. And if you want your reading, you can listen to your reading over again. You know, just go back to the timestamp of where I started on the live stream. You can click on that time and you can hear a reading over again. If there's something that you missed out, sometimes information can kind of come through really quickly and fast, and I don't always, I can't always slow down the train, you know, because the information comes in and I just gotta get it out sometimes. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate you all being here. Please subscribe so you know when more shows are coming up, and I look forward to seeing you all again in the future. Thank you all. Be well and take care.